Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. Tyson Fury claims the victory, viciously stops Dillian Whyte in round 6 and reclaims his WBC heavyweight belt. Right. If you know me, you know I'm not one who's going to say, I told you so, but I told you so. I told everyone throughout the build-up, right? This fight isn't about what Dillian Whyte can do, it's what Tyson Fury does. And he's an elite fighter, there's levels in boxing, and he proved exactly that, right? He proved the levels in boxing, and he did what I thought he would do, comfortably take out Dillian Whyte. That's what I said in my predictions. That's what I said throughout the build-up. Because for me, there was too many people looking at Tyson Fury's last fight against Wilder and saying what Dillian's going to do and the tactics Dillian's going to possess and the dangers and what he's going to do in this and that. And it was just all about Dillian Whyte for me. And I put a video last week and I said how much of it is, how much are these people Dillian Whyte fans and how much are Tyson Fury haters? Because for me, no matter what Tyson Fury does, someone comes out and says, oh, he never beat this guy. He's not fought that guy and this and that. He's scared of Dillian Whyte. He's scared of this. Give the man the respect he deserves, right? Now, I mentioned on my video on Friday, Final Thoughts video, look at it, and I said, I think Tyson Fury played a masterstroke in the pre-fight build-up. In the press conference and the weigh-in, I think he wanted it to be nice because I think he wanted the fight to be dictated by him. A nice, smooth rhythm, not intense blood and guts thunder battle, right? And it was all nicey at the press conferences. And I said, I just hope it's not a reflection of the fight, because for me, Dillian Whyte on the Friday at the weigh-in, on the press conference, was just, did he have a personality transplant? It's like, what the fuck's going on? This is a guy who's been shouting about fighting for the belt for years and his maximum violence and let's go and all this energy. And then he turns up, shaking hands, being nice, smiling, dancing. I don't want to see that. Before you fight for the heavyweight championship of the world, after the fight, no problem. Right? I wanted Dillian Whyte to go in there, put it on him, right? Say, this is my time. You're not fucking doing anything in this press conference or in the fight. This is my time. It's on everything's on my watch. You're getting it. I wanted to see intensity. Didn't see that the way and didn't see that in the fight. And ultimately it played out exactly as I said. Tyson Fury dictated the pace. Can't understand the tactics from Whyte. To come out southpaw, I mean, what's that about? Who's coaching him to do that? I mean, How much of Dillian's camp was actually cutting the ring off and going at Tyson with intensity, and how much was him trying to think of ways to outbox the superior boxer? Don't understand it. Now, look, you can't just say Dillian never tried anything, because there's a big difference when someone's in front of you, 6'9", who's countering you. It stops you throwing punches, because if you get caught, you get put to sleep, right? And that's what happened. He got put to sleep, so he was caught in between styles, Dillian, because he couldn't box him at range and he couldn't get in close and he definitely couldn't fight him at mid-distance. So he was just caught. He was lost. He didn't know what to do. And Tyson just befuddled him. Again, I said the jab was key. Use your jab effectively and then set up the uppercut with it. And it was a masterful finish. It really was. But you've got to ask for me the tactics with Dillian Whyte. And I said pre-fight, a lot of people weren't picking up on this. The preparation that Dillian Whyte had, right, he hadn't really fought a proper fight since 2019 against Marius Vac on the AJ Ruiz 2 undercard. Because the last two performances against Povetkin was, you've got to throw out the window. They're not preparation for a Tyson Fury fight. He got knocked out in the first one and then fought a fat corpse in the second fight. To the extent I don't think Povetkin should have been paid. I think half his wages should have been docked, half his purse, because he came in just not interested. Clearly didn't train, just took the money, and people are paying pay-per-view, so I feel strongly about that. But that wasn't ideal preparation. So really, his last competitive fight was 2019. Tyson Fury was coming off a Wilder fight. I kept hearing everyone saying, "Oh wow, life and death fights took something out of him." But he's coming in at least off back-to-back camps. He's not coming out a year or 2 or 3 years of inactivity, and he was sharp. Dillian Whyte was just overreaching, wasn't it? It was a bit embarrassing, really. I mean, the right hand, it was just. Tyson saw them coming a mile off, and I said he's just not got the footwork. Dillian's won no matter what, because for him to make millions of pounds and fight at Wembley Stadium is overreaching like you wouldn't believe. I said it pre-fight, overreaching. He's not a world-class fighter. He's a world-level fighter, but he's not world-class or elite. Or should I say elite? He's a world-class fighter, but he's not elite. He's not an elite fighter. That's the difference. And for him to get to where he's got to, my hat's off to him, big respect. But I think ultimately he will feel disappointed in himself. And I said it throughout the build-up, very disappointed in his behaviour in the promotion. It was very disrespectful to the fans. And I said if he gets put to kip or doesn't put on a good show, he'll regret it even more. Because now he's got no exposure out of it. He's been knocked out. He didn't put in a good performance. He's been paid. But really, apart from that, I don't know where he goes from there. Because he will be really regretting it now. And I don't think any of his team advised him not to do any form of promotion, because if anyone's advising you to do that, forget about pay-per-view sales or how much he gets from pay-per-views or doesn't. If a manager or anyone is advising a fighter not to promote a fight, you need to get rid of them. They aren't someone who's got your best interest at heart, because you maximise yourself, you're a brand, and I think really he'll look back in years to come and he'll really regret it. He won't now. You can tell he's a stubborn bloke, but I think 5-10 years time he'll really regret it, because this should have been the event that everyone was talking about. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Fight week drifted, and I didn't get that thing of, Dillian, I think Dillian can win. That thing, that gut feeling, I didn't get that. I just was convinced Tyson's too good for him. I didn't buy into the hype. Dillian seemed to become a better fighter for not fighting. It was this Tyson guy he was Mike Tyson with vicious hooks and body shots, and they turned him into a monster. Just unbelievable. Just completely forgetting Tyson Fury's attributes. 6'9", fights like a lightweight, has power. I kept telling you, he can bully Dillian if he wanted to. And if he hits you, he'll put you to kip. He'll soften you up and then he'll put you to kip. And that's what he did. He softened him up. He threw a few right hands, softened him up and took him out viciously. And it shows you Dillian's IQ. We didn't see the uppercut coming again. Same punches Povetkin caught him with. So I think Dillian he'll be upset. I think he'll regret it. I don't understand the tactics. He should have gone about it. I wanted to see the intensity. I didn't see it at the weigh-in, didn't see it at the press conference, didn't see it in the fight. It was all very subdued, and it was just like, I'm happy to be here. Same as the press conference, smiling and laughing, shaking hands. It was like he was just happy to be there. So he's got his money. Do the fans, should they feel shortchanged? I think they should a little bit, just from the build-up and everything, because they don't care what anyone says. Never been done before where a fighter hasn't taken part in a promotion. No one is saying you've got to throw tables or anything, but not even to acknowledge the fight till a week before it was just out of order. It can't be allowed to happen again. There has to be contracts in place or something in place to stop that happening, because ultimately, without the fans paying, you don't get your purse. The fans don't pay or watch your content or view your content. The broadcasters don't pay the promoters. The promoters don't put on the shows, which means they don't pay the fighters. Right? Everything comes from the fans. And I'm sorry, if you've got beef with the promoter and all that, fair enough. Don't take it out on the fans. And that's what happened for me in the build-up. And I think we'll look back with some regret now, Dillian Whyte. Masterful performance from Tyson Fury. Really was. Did everything that I thought he was going to do. And after the fight with Francis Ngannou, I don't want to see that fight. Ariel Helwani posted something saying, why should Fury fight Usyk next? Let Francis get paid and fight Usyk. Listen, with all due respect, I'm sure Francis earns more money than most of us, right? I don't want to see a nonsense, uncompetitive, manufactured piece of crap of a fight because you want Francis to get paid. What's it got to do with you, mate? Like, I like Helwani, good MMA guy. Talking about boxing, it's like, please, mate, do me a favour. No one wants to see the fight with Francis Ngannou. We've been down this bridge before with McGregor and Mayweather. We don't want to see it. It's just nonsense. It's just a money grab. We want to see competitive fights, not an MMA fighter fighting the best heavyweight of all time. Stop it. It's nonsense. I did a video pre-fight about the Daniel Kinahan talk and if it affected Fury's preparation. Watch it. I said I expect Fury to announce his retirement. This talk isn't going to go away with Daniel Kinahan, right? I think he needs to come out with a statement. He's got to address it. I think he'll wait for it to die down. Ultimately, I think he'll fight again if the AJ fight comes up, or Usyk for the undisputed belts. But I don't think you'll see him certainly for the rest of this year. I think there's a lot of pressure with the Daniel Kinahan stuff, as with a lot of people in boxing. They're going to have to face it. The story ain't going away, right? I know there's journalists who keep jumping on the bandwagon. They keep like everything's about Daniel Kinahan. But boxing's a sport, there's fights. We want to watch the fights. I know it's a big story, right? But not everyone's interested in it. We want to see the fights, right? But I get people criticising certain fighters, and Tyson has to come out. I think, I mentioned as well, I think there's been a falling out with Bob Arum. That was Tyson's last fight in his contract, so it's not like he's got another fight left. So he's a free agent. He can do what he wants. But I don't think you'll see him for the rest of this year. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul. Really, Tommy should be taking that opponent out in a few rounds. He really should. Terrible opponent. He looked good, Tommy, but the opponent, he should be getting rid of them in a few rounds. But given the benefit of the doubt, injuries and fighting in front of a large crowd. Jake Paul stop talking about it. It's nonsense. Jake Paul wouldn't last a few rounds with Tommy Fury's opponent. I heard Timothy Bradley say he thinks Jake Paul could beat Tommy Fury. I don't know if he said that. I'd be surprised if he has. If he has, Timothy Bradley, shut the fuck up, mate. Shut up. Shut up with your nonsense. Don't be coming on TV and saying Jake Paul can beat Tommy Fury. Stop talking shit. Now shut up, stop with the nonsense and talk real stuff. I like Timothy Bradley, but if you're going to talk shite, I'm going to call you out for it. Stop talking shit. Nonsense, right? Jake Paul won't fight Tommy Fury. Comes out with a post, what was it, straight away. Oh, people watch me fight when I fight in the stadium. No one watches Tommy. Yeah, you stupid fuck. You fight in what, 15,000 seater stadium or 20,000 seat stadium? That was a 94,000 seater arena. Clearly, there aren't going to be as many fans. Clearly, it's not going to be full for the first fight of the night, is it? Right? So, what are you comparing? Then you're saying about Anderson Silva. The first time you mentioned his name, he's terrified of him, right? You said, let's see how Anderson events sold out. What are you talking about? If you're going to go by that logic, you're talking about how these events do. What's Tyron Woodley ever done pay-per-view wise and events wise and money wise, gate wise, with people watching his fights? What's he done? You picked him to fight Ben Askren. Oh, I didn't realise he was such a pay-per-view star. You're contradicting yourself because you can't fight, you can't box, you've improved for a YouTuber, right? It's all manufactured nonsense, right? Fight a boxer. Stop trying to fight a retired MMA fighter with one eye. Fight a boxer, you bum. Simple as that. Nick Ball, Isaac Lowe. Nick Ball's come out of nowhere. I know in the trade people were saying that this was a good fight. Bit of a tank, isn't he? Really impressed with Nick Ball. Good performance. But overall, the event in itself, I watched it with my mates and my mate's house, and the boys were around, and was it a big fight atmosphere, and did I have that? Look, it's fight night. I did a bit, but it wasn't the event it should have been. Great to see all the fans there in the stadium. It looked phenomenal, it really did, but it wasn't the event it should have been. No one was talking about this outside the UK, and really in the UK there wasn't really much buzz. I know a lot of fans went, but it wasn't like on the street, oh, you're watching Fury, right? And that's because of Dillian Whyte's lack of promotion. And I think ultimately it backfired because Tyson Fury could just dedicate himself to training. You know, if he would have had to put on a big promotional front and he had all the Daniel Kinahan stuff, that would have been more pressure on him. But he was thanking the stars. He could just relax, train, don't have to sell. The fact the tickets are sold out. Obviously, if the tickets weren't selling, that would have been a different story. But the fact that the tickets sold out was happy days. He could just relax and train. And Dillian Whyte, I think it completely backfired the whole build up. And as I said, I think Tyson Fury played him. I think he wanted it all nicey at the press conferences. And ultimately, the pace of the fight was dictated to by Tyson Fury. And I said that as soon as he dictates that pace, Dillian Whyte hasn't got the boxing IQ or the foot movement to change course and to win the fight. And that's how it proved. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know.